How to crush Google Ads on a small budget. Hey there, my name's Ricky Hayes and welcome to today's video on how to crush Google Ads on a small budget step by step. So I'm going to be sharing with you a Google Doc. All you have to do is comment the word down below Google and I'll send you this entire doc. It's 100% free. I've just put it together for this video. And I'm going to be going through exactly how you can run Google Ads on a very small budget the most effective way. Now, firstly, how to succeed on a small budget. Firstly, a small budget is $3,000. A tiny budget is $600 a month, right? So very small budget we're talking about here. So it's important that we do a few things first to make sure that that budget is used as well as possible in every single regard to make sure. So firstly, I'll be going through if you're a lead gen business or an e-commerce, but mostly e-commerce, that's sort of more where I'm sort of going to be focusing a lot. So firstly, make sure you have your conversion tracking set up, right? So first and foremost, you don't need to pay for someone to do your conversion tracking, especially when you're on a small budget. If you're on Shopify, you can use that free app there. It's just a free app and you just follow the prompts, connect your Google account, and it will literally set up your conversion tracking for you, 100% done. It'll have dynamic attribution, which basically just means that you will get your dynamic revenue attributed so you can run shopping ads because that is very important. If you're on like doing something like lead generation or anything as well, or e-commerce, you can use the WooCommerce one as well. I just wanted to add that as well. Or you can use the Google Tag Manager. You can set up Tag Manager and put it in the header of your website, and then you can integrate Google Ads that way. That's a bit more technical, but I strongly recommend learning doing one of those three ways, depending on the nature of your business, to ensure that you're not having any outward expenses. So I just added those links there. You can have them as you set up. Additionally, if you are e-commerce, it's very important that you set up, naturally you should have your Google Merchant Center set up, googlemerchantcenter.com, or merchantcenter.com, whatever it is. Just go to that, make a free account. You can integrate it with, let's say, Shopify or WooCommerce. It allows you to push your products. And the most important thing is that you set it so you can also have the listing for local inventory. What that basically means is that your products will show up via SEO. And you can use SEO tools for this as well. There's plenty of tools out there, free ones as well. Naturally, your products will get SEO optimized, but you can do various SEO. We're not going to get too much into SEO today because that's what the nature of that is. But I'm just trying to give some options anyway as to how to further maximize your budget using the Google platform. Okay. So next, what we have is do deep research, right? If you're on a very limited budget, one of the key things that you can do is you don't want to be testing a lot. You want to be testing as minimal as possible. And part of the easy way of doing this is knowing your audience, right? Doing deep research allows you to do things like age, gender, nationality. I didn't add it in for some reason, but keywords, right? Do all that up front in deep research. I'm going to be using an example of a local business here in Bendigo called Evolution Pools, right? So I just typed it in Google, and what I can see straight away, obviously it has a number of reviews, and I typed in Evolution Pools, and I could put that into Google, and I'll show you in a moment, and then find similar keywords. And you can see like these are their customers. You can't actually see the customer in there, in a number of them, but you can see the people giving the reviews, right? So what looks to be mostly women. So if you can get the people that are giving the reviews are women, okay, we know it's women. We don't know we know the gender, we don't know the age, but as a guess for something like a pool, which is a larger expense, it'll probably be like at least 34-year-old people that to be able to afford a pool. So you want to do a bit of research here, right? I'm just giving this as an example. Do a bit more research so you can find the age and gender. Obviously, in this case, we know location, which is Bendigo, and then you can control things like the proximity as well, so that you can really narrow it down. So again, you're just maximizing the use of that budget, right? So now we sort of know that. In addition to this as well, if you go to Google Ads, I'm not affiliated with this or whatever, but depending on obviously your budget, make sure that you're also choosing these coupons for your first campaign. This is in Australian because obviously it's an Australian website variation, but so it's probably different per country, but use that as much as possible. If you're spending, if you're on a small budget under $3,000, you can be spending $1,500 a month, which is about $30 a day. No, $50 a day, pardon me. and you'll get $950 in credit. So essentially nearly one whole month will be paid. So make sure that you use that as well. It just sort of adds a little bit more and you can claim it. You have to make a new Google ad account. So if you already have one, I strongly suggest making a brand new one. You know, that bit of extra money really helps you in the beginning, right? So I strongly recommend doing that. Okay, so then we want to start looking into keyword ideas, right? So this is where under Google Ads, you go keyword planner and you go keyword ideas. Now I put in like something like keywords near me, pools near me. And you can see this is the one that I have, right? Low bid, which is at the bottom of the page, is 90 cents, sort of lower. And then the top of the page bid, $3.22. And this is in US, right? Because of the ad account. So, you know, if depends where you sort of want to go, of course, as well. But like you'll get a bit of an idea here too. You can see some keywords, pool reef surfacing near me, right? So because the reason that's so expensive is because the value of that lead will be very high, so Google will be charging a lot. Whereas you look at something like swimming pool near me, that's a lot less because the value of that customer is a lot less. You know, pool resurfacing could be tens of thousands of dollars. We're talking $10, $20. So understand that the nature of the keyword is what usually derives the cost also of that keyword as well. So, you know, depending on the nature of your business, this is where partly you want to do that deep research and find it as well. And you can see most of these are, you know, these ones, 10 to 100, are not worth it, right? They don't get enough volume and it's sort of not worth it, right? You're really wanting to aim for, ideally, keywords that are about $1 to $2, right? So you can do filters for that as well. So you can add filter, and then what I do is I go top of page bid and I will put $2, right? So is equal to or less than $2. Okay, so now I've narrowed that down, because remember, if you're spending, let's say $3 a day, one of those, if you get one click for $2, that's literally nearly your entire budget spent, right? So very important that you understand that. What I usually like to do is whatever your monthly budget is, let's say it's $1,500, $1,500. If you think about that on a $1 cost per click, that's 1,500 clicks in an ideal world. But most of the time you're looking at, for search, you're probably looking at about a $2 cost per click. So you're looking at that. So I usually sort of look at around the $2 mark, because you usually end up sitting at the higher mark, especially on search. When it comes to shopping, we'll get into that. It's a bit different. Shopping campaigns are all derived from your product listings, so that's a bit different. They're usually a lot cheaper as well, but nonetheless, you can sort of use this, you know, so kiddie pool near me, swimming pool near me for sale, right? So, you know, again, depending on the type of business, just have a look here. You can see though that a lot of these keywords are much smaller in keyword volume. So in an ideal world, you want to try and find the ones that have 100 to 1,000, right? That align to your business. And that's where what you can do is you can then save these keywords. You can save them and use them in a campaign. You can either export it, copy it, whatever you sort of prefer. But that's sort of what you want to do. You want to do that deep research and really sort of understand that if you're running search campaigns. At the same time, when you're doing this research as well, very important that when you're finding these keywords, you'll want to make ad groups specifically for around like these types of ones, where you have that in the headline as well. It helps with your click-through rate and actually reduces the cost per click. The reason is that if you can have as many of this sort of long tail keyword within your actual headline, the relevance score is high. So the higher the relevance score something is, the less the cost per click, right? So very important that you do this research, and also just try and make a number of, by default now you make basically dynamic ad groups, and add a number of these in as well. Google will automatically try and rank for it, and you'll get higher click-through rate, you'll get cheaper cost per click, and then naturally you're using your budget better. So that's why I said to spend a good amount of time doing that. And that's basically what you want to do in the beginning, especially on a limited budget. Obviously, as you grow, you can then change the range of what this looks like depending on the budget and how much risk management you're willing to have. All right, so I've also got this free keyword wrapper. It's just called keywordwrap.com. That's just free. And one of the important things that you have to understand is if you're doing search campaigns, you're on a very limited budget, do not even just to put in keywords. You want to, there's three main types of keywords. There's broad match, there's phrase match, there's exact match, right? You really only want to rank for phrase and exact match. And even phrase, I would be a bit dubious about, especially for like $3 a day. Exact match would be what you really want to do at minimum. So if you do a broad match, let's say it's pools near me, and it could be Ricky's pool near me, and your ad would show because it's just a broad match. If it's a phrase match, it would still also rank because it's got the same phrase. Okay, but if it's exact match, it wouldn't rank because it has to be exactly that, right? So in order for a phrase to work, it has to have that whole phrase in the search query. Okay, so you're narrowing it down. So in the beginning, what I recommend that you would do is do it as exact match. You won't get much impressions and volume, but it's purely to test in the beginning, and then you can add an exact match, phrase match in. So let's put pools near me. The cool thing with this tool is, as I said, it's 100% free. Is you just do that, and you copy, and you can copy it straight into your ad group, right? That's literally it. And then you've got, as I said, if you want broad, but do not do broad. So between the deep research, doing the keyword planning, and then using the phrase and exact match, you've really narrowed down your search ad campaigns, okay? To really maximize as much as possible that you're getting it. And then on top of that, we also know ideally your age, sort of your gender, and you can narrow that down, and you can even do bit adjustments as well. You know, if you can take out a few age demographics, let's say like for the pool, 18 to 24, 25 to 34, and do 35 to 55 range, then you've narrowed it down, and then to women you've narrowed it down. So what we're doing is we're really narrowing it down from the sunset, from the initial phase, to really maximize that for search. This is actually just a really good practice to have. One of the things I always like to do is I always like to work on the basis of a very limited budget, because you do very strict management when it comes to this and research. So that's why I wanted to sort of talk a bit about that. We're going to go into making a tested campaign shortly, but I wanted to talk a bit more about it. So you stick to there's two campaigns, right? That I always say. So there's search cold if you're running lead generation. And these are all much the same. Then you have the most important campaign you'll ever make is brand search, right? So brand search is literally the name of your business. So if I was to say Evolution Pools, when I put this in, that's their brand search, right? I type that in, and I don't know if they have any competitors ranking for the ads. No, they don't, because they're just a local business. At a higher level, you'll see a lot of companies that will have other brands ranking for their own competitor keywords. The reason that brand search works so well is people do a lot of Google research. They'll look at your business, and then they'll go to your website and they'll convert, right? That's just always how it is. People like to do a bit of due diligence. As a result, because your website and your keywords are all 100%, the quality match is 10 out of 10. So the cost per click is extremely cheap. So as you're running these ads, make sure you run a brand search. I'll be setting up the campaign as if it's a brand search today. It's all the same. Just as I said, it's just the only difference between brand search and a cold campaign is the keywords and the ad groups and the graphics and that. So otherwise, it's the exact same. I put them as separate campaigns. It's just personal preference. You could also put them in the same campaign, different ad groups. Honestly, it is entirely up to you. I just personally prefer to do it as a separate campaign. That's just my personal preference. You can also make sure that your pixel is installed. The same as with Facebook, you can use a tag assistant, which is just a Chrome extension. It's a free Chrome extension. Type in Google Tag Assistant. I'll put in a URL in the doc for you to have that, and you can just install that in Chrome. And that's also how you can check that your tag is installed. What you want to do is you'll want to set it up and then refresh your page, and you should see the tag there, and you should see a little green tick, right? That's pretty much it, as well as a bit of a side note to add there as well. Okay, so as I said, so you do that, and then if you're running e-commerce, you do a PMax campaign, which is called a Performance Max campaign. Many years ago, it was just a shopping campaign, and then they basically amalgamated everything into a Performance Max campaign. Arguably, in many years to come, search campaigns may not even be needed. It's all just brand search, Performance Max. Basically, it allows you to market on Gmail, YouTube, all their placements in a single place, right? So it's really handy, and you make what's called asset groups. So you will need images. You can connect your merchant center if you're running an e-commerce business, and you add your headlines, you add your description, you add your call to actions, right? And again, it does really well for e-commerce, because e-commerce, it's all about shopping for the most part. So definitely you want to run brand search. I would suggest at like $1 a day, because brand search, like you'll get like 2 to 4 cent cost per click. So it really is that cheap, and it gets you the highest ROAS every time, without a doubt. And then your sort of Performance Max is $2. So always your brand search will be a tiny budget. because it doesn't need much, and then you run Performance Max. Brand search is for every type of business model. It is the most important campaign in Google, period. So focus on one offer only if you're running search. So basically, you know, keep your keywords into one as much as possible, and make a single ad group, and basically just keep it that. You don't want to be trying a lot of different offers. You want to try and focus to one product, one page on your website, one type of objective, right? Just to keep that simple. I just wanted to add that in there. And then target a smaller location. So again, like with this example of Evolution Pools, target, Bendigo, and Bendigo is a relatively big place. You might want to just target a certain area within Bendigo. So if you can also find the areas down to the radius, right, from your deep research, that just helps you to target the right people. And it's pretty cool how you can target these as well. You can target different areas, different suburbs, and do different radiuses as well. So for instance, like, we all know in different suburbs in different cities, there are more wealthier suburbs, and then there are less wealthier based on, income and disposable income and stuff as well. So if you do that research and you're doing that, you can then try and find what areas within that city are probably the best to target. So you're really sort of narrowing it down. I just wanted to add that in. And as I said, narrow down keywords. And then you pre-qualify your ad copy. Now, look, you can just use ChatGPT to help you with this, right? Because you have a character limit per headline, per description, and I'll be just going through that as a broad one today. And use ChatGPT to help you with those, where you type in ChatGPT, and I'll show you a bit about that in a moment, where you type in, make multiple headlines around this keyword, and it will give you a heap of that, so it'll save you time. Google has it within theirs with Google Gemini, but I find it's not as good in my eyes as ChatGPT, especially with the copy side. So I just wanted to, and then the most other important part is optimize early and aggressively. If you're on a very small budget, you don't have much leeway to just be like, oh, I should just leave it. If it's not performing and you see others performing, turn it off and focus on that, or do bid adjustments. So a bid adjustment allows you to say, I want to spend 70% less on this keyword and I want to put 50% more on this keyword, right? So this is where you can do bid adjustments. So I just wanted to sort of add that in. That's mainly the main thing as well. When you look at, I put in some examples, if your ROAS is low, cut it. If your ROAS is good, scale it. And then you do percentage increases and decreases. All right, so I'm now just in my Google Ads, and this is what you'll mostly all see. You go new campaign. We've got a new campaign again. Now, again, this is where you want to choose your objective, right? So I use sales. Sales is mostly e-commerce. Leads if you're more services, app promotion if you're running an app through the Google App Store, for example. Those are the main three you generally tend to run, right? So obviously local shop visitors and promotions, you sort of just need to have a look and make sure you get the objective right. I'm going to go with sales today because I know most people watching it's more e-commerce focused, and you'll see your conversion tracking goals here. You can see mine aren't set up properly just because it's a test account, but you'll see it there, and you should make sure that that is properly set up. Otherwise, you'll be able to see your click-through rate, but you won't be able to see your conversion. So it's very important. That's why as well you want to use the tag assistant to verify that your pixel is firing, right? And that the conversion is firing. If you're running leads, you'll set up a manual. Most of the time you'll set up a manual conversion tracking and you'll apply a manual value. If you're doing e-commerce, as I said, you'll use an integration where it's all done for you and it's all dynamic. So e-commerce has a lot of benefits there. Okay, so this is where, again, we choose search, performance max. I've never done demand gen, honestly. Display and shopping, I don't do them as separate. You either run search or performance max, right? They're all much of a muchness, so I'm just going to go with search today, and we're going to go put website visitors, and we're going to put dogs.com, and you give the campaign a name, dogs brand search. We're going to give it that name. Start new. Obviously, I have a few drafts from other videos. So what do I want to focus on? I always want conversions. In the beginning, you always want conversions. Maximum number of them. Don't turn that on. Adjust your bidding to help you acquire. So by default, your campaign bids equally. So you can adjust it if you want as well. So if we have a look, so you can bid higher for new customers or only bid for new customers, right? So I just personally leave this off and I just go next, right? So you've got your Google Search Partner Network. You want to leave that on. especially for search. And because this is a brand search as well, I will turn on display. When you're running a search cold, you probably won't turn those on. Okay. But for today's example, I will turn those on. Naturally, you want to then target, then you've got your audience segments, and your audience segments is basically where you can have, it's like interest targeting equivalent of Facebook, and you can browse them as well. But we're using keywords, so we're not going to use that. And you can have a look at more settings, and you can even do an ad schedule, right? So that depending on the type of business that you have, if you're like a local business, you'll want to probably, maybe try and keep it to business hours. If your objective is phone calls, you want to have it so that your ads more show during phone calls. Or you might have it where they submit a form, because some people sort of prefer that, of course, as well. Personally, it depends on your objective, right? If it's a phone call, you'll schedule it weekdays, 9 to 5, for example. If it's email communication, it doesn't matter, right? So make sure you have a look at that as well. You got your ad rotation, always leave that. Start date's fine. Campaign URLs, you don't need to worry about that at all. And page feed, we don't need to worry about that. We go next. And this is where the AI Max for search campaigns. So get the best performing AI performance on the Google search, right? Optimize your with AI Max, right? So text customization and final URL. So in the beginning, I would suggest leaving that off, because you want to control things further. Using AI is fantastic, but not in the beginning when you're on a very limited budget. When you're scaling, definitely turn it on, right? This is only really, really new, so I wouldn't be doing that. So we go next, and this is here where it will then help you with your keyword and asset generation. So it's basically just Google. It's using Google Gemini, where it'll help you with that, and you can see that I've got petsmartdogs.com.au. I put in the URL, and I'm just going to go generate. Okay. Then you can go edit, and it's already started to do a bit of it for me. I don't know why it hasn't done all of it, but it's done a bit of it for me. So I'm just in ChatGPT, and I have the Google Ads copy wizard. You can just go under GPTs and type in Google Ads, and you'll get the copy wizard. Now, there's a number out there, right? AdCraft. I just chose the one that has 50K installs. You also can have a virtual assistant as well, which is really, really handy. This is all part of ChatGPT. So I recommend having a look at that as well. It'll help give you those analytics and insights on a limited budget. Strongly recommend to do that. And again, you got your campaign. So both of those are much the same, but I use the copy wizard. So let's go back into the copy wizard. And you can see that I've just put in the keywords from the ad group, and it said, what the landing page, the more context you can have, the better it's going to make what's called a responsive search ad. But you can see in 10 seconds, it's given me 20 headlines, right? Trusted pet shop online, visit a pet store near you, 27, all on, book a grooming appointment. that sounds probably a bit off, but is that, find pet grooming near you. Boom, there we go. So that's a good one. So anyway, you get my point, and you can do all of that to save save, and then you want to say make descriptions about it for using URL. Okay. And so it'll take a moment, and then all of a sudden, then you've got this where someone has made a GPT that is optimized to basically do this for you. And you can see that you've got up to 90 characters. So, and it's just all of a sudden, there you go. Boom. And you can use all of these as well. I strongly recommend as well that you use site link extensions. Site link extensions allow you to have things like your blog, contact us under your ad here. Really, really sort of helps you as well. And you'll see as you build this out, the preview gets stronger and stronger. Use all of these options, right? And it will automatically adjust for you. You got your call out extensions as well. So a call out extension, like let's say regular updates. I'm going to choose that. And you can see it just adds more to your ad as well. You want to add at least 4, hence why, don't save. Hence why it has 4 site link and 4 call out. You want to do that as well. And you've got more asset types depending on your business as well. Your promotions, calls, add your phone number if you're a local business, lead generation. Structured snippets are also pretty good. And then you've got lead forms. So again, just have a look at all of these options. Any that relate, use them. The more space you can use that is relatable to your business, the more your ad performs. And then you've got URL options. Don't worry about any of those. And that's pretty much it, right? And so you can see that like I haven't fully optimized it. And again, like I've turned off search term matching, and we just go save. It says far from perfect. We then want to go next. Okay, and then it gives you your budget, so set a custom budget. And this is where you set $3 a day. It will say, what it estimates to be a number of conversions based on its data. And you'll see that, conversion value and a weekly cost, so it'll give you that sort of estimate, again, depending on your business. And then you want to go next, and then you get a full review to be able to edit this. Obviously, this is far from perfect, but I wanted to sort of show this. You can see by doing that using tools like ChatGPT, these free extensions, you can all pretty much do this yourself, right? And as I said, the most important part, because I didn't choose specific keyword, well, actually, pardon me, I did, I didn't want that, would be, well, normally, as I said, you can use the keyword wrapper where you add in the specific keywords. It had it before, but for some reason it's not showing it right now. And so you use those, and make sure as well, as I said, I made a small mistake there, that when you choose your keywords, make sure that they're phrase and exact match. Mine was set as broad. Do not have them set as broad, because your campaign will spend and it will overspend. One of the biggest problems with Google is it does overspend. So that's why you start with phrase and exact match. Okay. So my apologies for that small little mistake there that I overlooked while making this tutorial. So, all right. So I need a drink. Oh. 1, 2, 3. All right, so I hope you have enjoyed today's video on how to crush Google Ads on a very, very small budget. Now I'll start that again with a tiny budget. A small budget? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. So I hope you have enjoyed today's video on how to use Google Ads on a small budget, the most effective way possible, where you can control as much as possible. Honestly, it's just really good practice to do in general. When it comes to Google Ads, the more that you can control, the better the ROI. So you should, even as you scale, always look at how you can control it. That's the power of Google Ads. Okay, so as I'll make more advanced videos around Google Ads, if you're interested, as I said, comment down below Google if you're interested in getting the doc. I will send it to you. I hope that everything in today's video has helped you to clarify a lot around this when it comes to Google Ads. And I didn't show it, but I just wanted to sort of show you that this is, again, where it has the keywords. And you can see that you've got phrase, exact, and broad. Historically, you would have to put it in, and I still put them in using the wrapper. That's just a habit that I do. You can put in the URL, or you can say, Debutify, just as an example, I was using that, and you can see that it's set to broad match. If you change it to exact match, it'll then add the bracket. So either way, it sort of works, but make sure you're writing phrase and exact match. That is very, very important. Then you have audiences, where you can go and have a look at your audience segments. Okay, so you can look at it at the campaign or ad group level, depending on what you want to do there as well. But the most other important part that I said was, do you want to add exclusions at the campaign? So maybe keywords you don't want to rank for, part of that as well, as if you can find keywords you don't want to rank for, then you can completely eliminate them as well as phrase and exact. And then you've got your, you can edit your demographics, where this is really, really powerful. If you know your demographics, this is the cool thing with Google, right? Is you can do gender. With Facebook, you can't like eliminate, let's say 25, 34, and have the rest. And this, you can only, it's just a bit different anyway. But with 25, 34, and then you can choose your household income. So if you've got a larger average order value, you will find that, you'll probably want to remove a number of these people, because they probably won't be worth it. So this is where as well you can really start to narrow down a lot as well in that campaign, just to target the right people, the right ages, with even the right type of income. And then do your radius targeting as well. So if you really want to sort of do that as well with phrase and exact. So between all of this, you're really doing everything. And then you don't need a fancy copywriter or anything, just using the ChatGPT free GPTs that people have made to help you with this. I use it all the time. It's a fantastic little one. So I just wanted to sort of add all that in so that's all very clear. I just think that this is really good practice to have in general, even as you scale, because if you do this, even as you scale, you're just going to make more money. All right, so that concludes today's tutorial on how to run Google Ads on a small budget. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, please be sure to subscribe, like today's video for more value like this, comment down below if you have any questions, or also add the word Google if you want the Google Sheet. I will send it to you in the comments section entirely for yourself. As I said, follow this all step by step as much as possible to apply for yourself. I really wanted to make sure that you have the best opportunity to be able to use Google Ads, because can be quite daunting, and it can be quite expensive. So hence why we go to all these extra lengths to make sure that you're extending your money as much as possible to the right people, to the right objective, to get the right results as soon as possible, right? So I hope that has been helpful. Thank you very much for your time today. Have a lovely day. Take care and goodbye.